Welcome back, students. So in this session we'll try to understand about improving software economics. In your previous session we discussed about what is the cost associated with your software. Now we'll try to understand how we can improve this software economics. So there are basically 5 different parameters if you want to work with your soft cost models. So first is you are supposed to reduce the size. You are supposed to reduce the size. So what do you mean by reducing this size here? So this is how much automation work you can do or which particular programming language you are using in order to reduce the total size of your project. So this is really needed when you are going with your development, because total number of lines vested manually can be more cost, might delay on more cost. So in order to reduce that particular cost, you are supposed to straight away cut down the total number of lines that are available in your program. So you are supposed to reduce the total size and complexity of your program here. Second, in this way you can improve your software quality. Second, you can improve the development process. So improving development process, like development process. So here, which particular process models you are using? Whether you are going to release your software in the very first version, or you are going to release your software in multiple versions, or you are doing your iteration works. So that also depends on improving the software quality or economics. Third, skilled person. Which particular personnel you are using? So personnel indicates how skilled they are, how skilled your programmers or your testers are related to your process which is given to you. Whether they are working on a single process or whether they have to gather the information from multiple processes across the different organizations. That also depends upon your software economics. At the same time, whether these particular persons are they required with any particular training required on any of the latest technologies, that also depends on your software economics. Fourth, which environments you are using. So using better environments will help you in reducing the cost of your software also. And fifth one, you are supposed to how you are going to trade your process, how you are going to trade your project here. So developing your project is a task, and at the same time, after your project is developed, how it is being traded, how it is taken into how that particular process is taken to your software customers, and how that is being sold out, that also depends on your software economics. Like if it is sold with higher bugs, your software economics could be increased. If it is sold with lower bugs, your software economic or the return on investment on your software will be reduced. So these are the basic 5 concepts or 5 different parameters or objectives on which your software programmer need to focus in order to improve the software economics of your project, right? So we'll try to understand these particular 5 points in this particular slide here. So first, as I already said, if you want to work with, if you want to improve your software economics, first is you are supposed to understand the size here. So size is which components you are using here, how many components are required in your process. So that depends on your size. And this size depends on which particular programming language you are using, whether you are using your object-oriented programming, whether you are using your higher order programming, or are you working with your reuse, like once your model is used, or once your say class or interface is generated, whether you are going to make use of same class or interface in order to work with some other functionality. That also depends on the size of your process. Next, process. Process indicates which methods and techniques you are using, right? Whether you are going to make use of your iterative development or you are using your conventional model, process maturity models. So depending on the model that you are using, your process cost depends on. And next, personnel. I already said personnel indicates the potentiality of your software developers. So whether you require any training related to your software, or the persons who are already working on your team, whether they are highly skilled. And teamwork also plays a major role. Like you have a successful team of around 10 to 15 members who are capable of working with your project, but there is no teamwork among these particular people, right? So the win-win situation related to your project is approximately degraded. The win-win situation always gets degraded. And if you have around 5 to 8 number of people, this number is only for your for an example understanding. Like you have a team of only 5 to 8 people and who are already skilled, and they are now working with your teamwork. Like there is a good communication among your team now, right? The win-win situation related to your project automatically gets increased. So this all are related to your personal or people factors that are responsible in your who are responsible for your process development. Next, you go with your environment. Environment indicates which technologies or which tools you are using here, right? Whether you are using only automatic technologies and tools or whether you are using your customized tools, right? So if you are using integrated tools, so integrated tools related cost could be different. Whether you are using, whether you are developing your software to work on with different platforms, hardware platforms, then your cost estimation gets changed. So and which particular coding you are using. After every code, you are supposed to document which particular part of your code is supposed to be documented. How many modules of your program is supposed to be tested. After testing, your test results are supposed to be reported back to your managers, and you are supposed to analyze under different situations. So all these plays a major role when you go with this environment. So environment indicates all the tools which you are going to use in your process. So tools related to your analysis, testing, documentation, coding, and tools related to your development, all these plays a major role when you go with your environment. And last, you go with the quality. Quality indicates the performance of the final product that is built, right? So the product which is built, this is taken in perspective of a customer here. So whether the process which was built, if he is supposed to buy it, he needs to understand certain points here, whether that particular software is reliable or not, whether that particular process is accurate up to his requirements or not. So these points are taken into consideration here. So accurate, reliable, or whether that is compatible or not, all these points plays a major role when you go with this quality. So all these are the cost parameters, cost model parameters, and these are the different trends that are used in your process development. These are the different trends or tools that are used throughout your process development. All these points are going to focus on your software cost model improvement, improving your software cost or improving your software economics, right? So from the previous slide, we are supposed to understand certain points again. Like once your software is being developed, so we have related to the size now. So whenever you take your size, if your manual code which is written by the person or your software developer, if that manual code is more, the cost estimation gets increased automatically. So what we can do is, the cost estimation is supposed to be reduced. So what are the factors that affect in reducing your software software product can be taken under here. So your software code can be depends on the technologies which you are using. At the same time, how much manual work that you are how much manual work you are using, you are doing here. So this particular thing we take it as your size of your process or size of your language that is being used, right? So this automatically helps you in this automatically makes you focus on the return of investment of your process, right? So this automatically going to focus on your return of investment. So return of investment, if it is supposed to be reduced, the total code generated by human person is supposed to be reduced here. Sorry, return of investment, if it is supposed to be increased, the manual work that is supposed to be done should be reduced and the automation work should be increased. So whenever you are doing your automation work, again the total cost estimated on your automation work should be reduced again, right? So this source of lines, in order to work with this, we have different models. So component based model was introduced in order to reduce the size of your language which you are using. So this component based model, it is going to make use of different factors. It is based on different factors. First is reuse. So reuse indicates how many components you are going to use again. Like, so here how many components you are going to use is something like, say for example, if I am going to create a graph in this form, so if I will go with your iterations here, So I have your iterations like your x and y axis in this fashion. Say this is supposed to be the number of projects which are reusing. This is the total number of projects which are reusing your components, and this is your return of investments. So this is related to your the schedule of your resources, right? So the automatic factor related to your number of projects with the schedule automatically goes in this form. Say in your first iteration, first project solution is released. First project solution is released. So this particular solution is going to is estimated as, say, X dollars as your for your first iteration. It is estimated as your cost to be X dollars and your period to be N months. So within this N months, if it is supposed to be delivered, not an issue. But if it is not delivered within the process time or X within this defined time, then the cost automatically increases, right? So if the time is increased here and your project solution is released as second release here. So in this second release, your project, what happens is the total cost estimation is increased to 50% related to whatever initial cost estimation was made. This is your second. And in this form, if you go on increasing, say for example at iteration number 5, I have released your process model, or I have released your process. So at this particular point, your total cost estimated was increased to 125%, and your total time was increased to 150% of your time. So this time related to your projects along with your cost is obviously rational to each other. They are never they are always reciprocal to each other. As the time increases, as the number of releases increases, the total cost estimation related to your project also increases. So this is supposed to be reduced by using this reuse components. So reuse components, what it is going to do is, if there is a necessity of certain component to be recoded once again. So if it is coded already once, and if it is in some other project, it can be taken back into your project and used. So this way you can reduce the time related to recoding that particular project, recoding that particular part of your code and using that into your process. So that is about your reusing. And next, the technologies what we are using. So here we are working on your component-based models. So this component, under this component-based models, we are supposed to understand this object-oriented technologies. So object-oriented technologies, they majorly focus on dividing your code into different parts. So here you can make use of any unified models, any visual models in order to start developing your code models. And when you go with this automatic code production, automatic code production is nothing but there are certain tools which can create your code automatically. The basic code generators are already listed here. You have your case tools, you have visual modelings, you have your GUI builders, which will help you in reducing the manual code and building your automation code depending on your usage. And next you go with higher order programming language. So here this higher order programming language are nothing but the programming language which you are going to use as a part of your component based models. So some of the higher order programming languages are your C++, ADA, Java and so on. So what is the use of this particular higher order programming language is, it is simply to reduce the total size of your code. So the total size of your code depends on the units of function. The total number of points, what is this units of function is the total number of external inputs that are taken from the user along with the total number of external outputs, the logical data related to the logical data groups, and the total external data interfaces and external factors which are affecting your process development. All these together form the units of your function points. So your higher order programming language, they are focusing mostly on this universal function points, also called as UFPs. Right? The number of if the number of universal function points are less, the size of your program is also considered to be less. If the number of function points are more, the size of your points is also more. So in order to understand successful OOP concepts, So Booch has suggested 5 characteristics which you can review from your PDF. Right. So next we'll try to understand how we can improve your software process. So in order to improve your software process, so there are 3 different types of software processes available. First is your meta process. Meta process is going to focus on 3 different factors, that is the policies, procedures and practices. So any process is focusing on these 3 parts. What are the policies, what are the different procedures used, what are the practices that are used in your organization or whatever. So meta process is purely related to all these factors of your organization. So this organization, what is the aim of this organization by using these policies? It is supposed to understand or focus on your total organization economics along with the what is the standability of that particular process, and it is also going to focus on, any organization works on the cost estimation. So what is the return on investment related to that particular software development is focused by a meta process. Next, macro process is also going to understand work on these 3 policies, but now this time this is going to be related to the project here. So who are going to work on this particular project and what are the factors impacting this project is which particular constraints you are using in order to develop your project can be taken as a macro process. And third point is a micro process. Again, the policies, practices and procedures of your project team is going to be taken as a main factor when you go with your micro process. So this project team, what is the baseline of this particular project team is, it is used to generate a software with base quality or adequate quality as per the customer requirements, right? So these are the basic maturities related to all the matrices what I have already said. So your macro process is purely dependent on the budget. Micro process is dependent on, So micro process is dependent on the milestones of your budget, and meta process is purely dependent on competitiveness related to your process. So you can have a look on this. The time scales are also given here. So all the factors which I already discussed in your previous slide are given in this projection. So that's all for this particular lecture. Let us meet in your next lecture.